What's up, everybody? Welcome to the finale of Sign the Traitors. We are a Traitors recap podcast brought to you by Silent Podcasts, or anything but silent. And I'm your host, Katie, and I'm here with Isaiah. Javier is not with us tonight, unfortunately, but it's okay because there's not really that much to talk about. How are you feeling, Isaiah?
Look, I'm here. I feel like I've been here for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But the season's over. I, for a lot of the stuff that we have said about it, and not the brightest season by any means, but could have been a lot worse. It could have been like last year. I feel
Sure.
like so I can't complain too much, but I still can complain a little bit. So that's why I'm here.
Well, that's what we're here to do. Do you actually think last season was better to you in the rankings overall than season 4? That's an
It's
interesting
tough.
statement.
It's tough because I feel like last season was on the entertainment scale a lot more entertaining,
Yeah.
but the outcome of it is very like it takes the whole season down a peg, where like
Yeah.
this season, it wasn't like a roller coaster ride by any means. It was very much like a steamroll, but at the end of the day, I think that we've been asking for a trader win, and we've been
Yes.
asking for a good player, and he might not be the most exciting winner, but I think Rob is up there. So you give or take. I take my wins where I can take it.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, well, first of all, shout out to me for winning our draft. But in my opinion, I do think that Rob is definitely the second best trader and has played the second best game, only second to Suri, which is a pretty high bar. Suri is a strategic mastermind at all of these games. So, I mean, she's a tough one to meet in terms of competition. And she gives him props as well. I do think Rob's game overall was slightly messier. Suri had no votes against her in her trader season, and she came in with a major reputation for being a threat and the best to never win survivor and all that stuff. And she still was able to get through the game effortlessly. So, but I think Rob did a good job. I mean, I can't take anything away from him. I'm happy with the way the game ended up, especially because I think throughout the episode he kept saying that he wants to get to the end and win with Eric, and that frustrated me. I was like, this man deserves not a penny, not a cent. I don't want to see Eric take anything. So to see them turn on Eric at the end was probably the most satisfying part of the episode.
It's tough for the winners conversation because I was on that train for a while. I'm like, after finally seeing a whole body of work, I'm a little swayed now to the point where I'm like, maybe I actually do feel like Rob might be better than Suri due to
Interesting.
small differences. But at the same time, there's also small differences to be in Suri's favor. I am indifferent, but as of right now, if I had to pick one, I might pick Rob actually.
Hmm.
And that's only because I just feel like the first of all, I know that people are going to nitpick about this, but all civilians, I mean, half civilians, half TV stars versus people who you're all familiar with. Like everyone's trash is out there, right? That was one thing, but a second thing is, and I love Suri. Like I'm not trying to like talk down or whatever, but I feel like Suri really came in with the benefit of this connection after going on Snake on the Grass with was it Stephanie LaRosa and Rachel
Rachel.
Riley, and they just had this whole adventure where they got to build this chemistry before going on the trader. So it's almost like, I'm not saying pre-built alliance, but it's like they had that trust in them. So it's like you take a lot of people who don't know what they're doing, as well as a bunch of people who you just went on the show with, and then there's also the survivor connections, whatever. It's just like, I'm not saying she had like a cakewalk to the end by any means, because it was extremely impressive. Like I said, it's indifferent. It's like if one is at like number one, the other one's at like 1.5. Like I don't know what the difference is, but she had a super clean game where I think Rob was kind of like less connected and actually had a lot more challenges because he played like a messier game, but it was honestly a lot more effective in the way he did it, because I think he set himself up off of like week, was it 4 or 5? Or episode 4 or 5. Like he was kind of set for the rest of the season, where I feel like Suri was set, but she really had to like play this all the way up to like the finale where she had to do her grand thing. Like Rob was in a spot where he didn't really need to do what he did, he still did it anyway. You saw me last podcast. I didn't think he was going to cut Eric, and he did it. You know what I'm saying? So they're both really good though. Like at the end of the day, they were both extremely well. I'm not tearing either one of their games down by any means. They're both great.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can see what you mean. I think in terms of like the civilian versus the celebrities, I feel like for the most part, the celebrities that Rob had with him at the end were basically civilians. Like, sure, Eric is a musician or whatever. Maura was on some reality TV, but Maura admitted that she never watched an episode of the show. She didn't know anything about it. Rob never watched an episode of the show. He didn't really know as much about it. I think they may as well. It's not like he was in a game with all gamers. He was in a game with basically just people who happen to be on reality television or have a job that makes them a little bit more famous. Where I think in Rachel's Big Brother, most recent Big Brother 27, we have seen that sometimes it's actually harder to play with people who don't understand what's going on around you than people who may understand. So
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I think Ebony in the chat is saying, I think playing against dumb civilians who actually want the money versus dumb stars who don't care about the money is harder. I agree. I think, we talked about it a little bit a couple of weeks ago too, of like the benefit of being on the Traitors, especially now that it's so popular, is all the endorsement deals that they're probably getting and all the social media following. I mean, they're all over the place. Rob and Lisa Rinna and like Sonic commercials. Lisa Rinna is all over the place. Like that's way better than winning $250,000 that taxes
For
are going to take 50% of anyway.
And to Ebony's credit, like I don't disagree with that actually, but I also do think there's also an argument for like, all right, coming into a game and people being extremely familiar with who you are and kind of like having to like almost like not play a part because you saw how Lisa that actually negatively affected her, but like almost like trying to keep up a certain image because it's one thing to come in and nobody know you or like some people not even be familiar with you, then everybody kind of being, I guess, on the same level playing field where it's like, all right, like this person's on this or that, like they were either good or bad or whatever. It's difficult. Like I said, I'm not going to crap on Surya at all. I'm a very big fan of like what she did. I just feel like, I don't know, my experience, and maybe I do have to rewatch season 1, but my experience with this one, I was so bored. But it almost reminded me of like Derek Levasseur in Big Brother 16, where it was just like, how is this guy getting away with all of these things? Because like Suri didn't have anyone like try to like sink her down to the bottom of the ocean with her on their way out, but like Rob had that like plenty of times and like it still worked out shockingly. I'm just like, I was just like amazed. I'm like it's maybe it's the argument of adversity because I really don't think Suri faced any adversity at all outside like Cody, where like I think Rob faced a lot of adversity.
Where, if I remember, was it Stephanie who put her name? There was someone who was like, could it be Suri? And Stephanie, Andy brought the information to her. But I don't think she ever
I have to rewatch it.
Yeah, I know it's been a while.
It's been a long time.
I haven't watched it either.
We're planning a ranking stream with like for all the Traitors players, so that'll be my opportunity to like look back and then have a more
I need to do my
opinion.
research on that one.
Yeah.
Well, that being said, I guess we may as well move on. But shout out we'll save it for that podcast. But shout out to Rob. Great job. Glad that he won the money on his own. I think in this podcast, the last couple of weeks have been going on vibes. We've been talking about how it's been a little boring, a little predictable. So I think the way, I didn't rewatch the episode or the reunion in preparation for this podcast again, like I have in the last few weeks. But I think instead of recapping the episode, I always find that the last episode of the Traitors to be relatively boring. It's always some big like mission with a helicopter or boats or something, which is exactly what we saw here. Not the type of TV that I'm like super interested in, especially for a finale. So truthfully, fast forwarded through most of the mission, but like shout out to them for being in a helicopter and jumping off into the water. I want to talk a little bit about the players, maybe individually, because it's really the social dynamics at this point that take us through the whole episode. So maybe before we get to Maura, because I'm sure we're gonna have plenty to say, let's talk about Johnny and Tara, your favorite, the skater twins. I actually think they did a much better. I don't want to say they. I think Tara did a much better job this episode than I expected her to do. What was your take on Tara in the finale?
I'll put Tara and Johnny in the same boat because I feel like they're both in the same boat. I feel like their actions this episode didn't like excuse them for the whole season of bad gameplay, but this, there's nobody left in the house, so like obviously, like they finally got it, but it was just too late. And I feel
Yeah.
like, again, this is benefit to Rob. Like, he positioned himself in such a great place that, like, it didn't matter what they said
Hmm.
or did. Like, there was no chance in any scenario, just like last week with Natalie, that like they could get a traitor out. Like, it sucks. It's sad, but like this guy, like it's such an impressive like structure that Rob built for Tara and Johnny and Natalie to just like be unable to to penetrate anything.
Yep.
Like I feel so bad for Tara specifically because I feel like she, out of everyone, played, out of the people left, like the more like content game, and it's just like Mora was so snowed, and we talk about with these celebrity seasons, like the Survivor strong, and we've seen a challenge strong, we've seen a housewife strong. This is the first time we are seeing a Love Island strong,
Oh
where
yeah.
Mora and Rob just have like this very loose but like strong connection that like did not break for the whole season, and there was just no way that Tara was going to be able to break that. So very sad, but she did a good job during the finale. I'm going to preface, during the finale.
Yeah, she put her work in. I think she started waking up in last week's episode when she put Rob's name out there. I think Natalie, like we talked about, I don't want to get the people in the comments upset because we have a Natalie stan in the comments. So I don't want to get them upset. But I think if Natalie played it maybe a little bit differently, they could have perhaps done something, but Rob had the dagger. So it would have been very difficult for him to even get voted out last week, like we talked about. But I think she started waking up last week and then got a little nervous. And then I think as soon as Natalie went out as a faithful, she was like, it has to be Rob. Like that solidified it for both of them, that it's Eric and Rob. Like they know it's not the two of them. It has to be Eric and Rob. And it's unfortunate that I think, she put in a lot of work with Mora. And I really, they got me a couple of times. I really thought Mora would vote out Eric. And then I was like, oh, they got Rob at the end. Or they would have tied it. And then TBD, what would have happened, right? If Tara and Johnny made it to the end. But I don't know. Mora's will not budge. And I don't think it had anything to do with Eric. I think it had everything to do with Rob. I think she didn't want to disappoint Rob. I didn't think she didn't want to go against Rob or get Rob upset. But Tara put in a lot of really good work with Mora. She knew that this was like the last chance to get her to move to the side. And it almost worked. Like it really felt like it almost worked. I don't know how close it really was for her to decide. I don't feel like they really asked that question at the reunion. I didn't really get a ton of answers about anything at the reunion, to be quite honest with you. Total flop. As they always are. But shout out to Tara. I think she did a good job. I think if she could have gone back, like knowing what she knows now in hindsight, I think she would come back and play a very different game. Like she learned how to play the game throughout it. So I was impressed with her because at the beginning she was not playing well.
It's so, and it sounds like I want to glaze Rob up. But this was the Rob show at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The power it takes. Because even if you can't get Rob out, Eric was an option.
Mm-hmm.
Eric was single-handedly like strong armed through like 3 episodes of being like accused as a traitor by Mark, Tara, Johnny, Nat. Like so many people accuse Eric, and he somehow still made it to the final 3 because of Rob's influence. Like it's very wild to like really like look back and see like how did this guy get here, because he really was not saying anything for a majority of these episodes.
No.
And he still got Eric to the end, so it's really sad for Tara because I feel like she could have at least gotten like one trade out. Like, is this the fact that 2 traders got to the end is like so mind-blowing to me, because Eric specifically should have been caught episodes ago, man. And it's wild.
It just feels like nothing that worked out in their favor should have worked out in their favor this season. Yeah. Like Eric should have been caught. The killing of Kristen should have been talked about. Like all of these things, the Candace votes should have been examined a little bit more. It's just the evidence did not ever come to light, which is why I think it was frustrating this season, and why I think to me, that does take away a little bit from Rob's game as a viewer, because it was a little bit messy. Like there were missteps made for sure. None of them were picked up on. So I think that part is, we talk a lot about how the Traitors has a lot of luck behind it. That is the luck part. I think a lot of it has to do with like being in a cast of inexperienced people. But I think obviously Rob played the game tremendously well. I don't want to take anything away from him. So, but I'm really, really happy that Eric didn't win any money. I wish I got a moment of Rob in a confessional telling us that he was going to cut Eric, or at least saying, like Cirie told us, like, I do deserve this money than Eric. like she said, she deserves this money more than Ari. She's been doing it since day one. He just got recruited. He didn't have to do anything. I wanted to hear that from Rob. I wanted to hear like the heartless, I'm a traitor to the end. I'm going to be a traitor till the end and take all that money for myself. And I wanted to hear that from him. Cause like, if I knew that he was like going to just be ruthless the whole way through, I would have been like rooting for him a little bit. I was rooting for him, of course, like who else would I be rooting for? But I think I would have rooted for him like a little harder.
I think he was just generally trying to be a nice guy. Like he understood this is a game and he got selected to be a traitor. And I think even like when Candace and Lisa were coming after him before and after the show, you could tell like he was being respectful. So like I didn't expect like ruthless Rob or anything, but like you could tell he generally felt bad for like half of the stuff he was doing. But like, you know, he needed the money. Like they're on a show at the end of the day, you know, so I, you know, I get it. I see why the show edited the way it did. But you know, looking all the way back to episode 1 to now, like I was questioning a lot of the editing choices, but I see now this was a steamroll from Rob. So it's like, I understand why we didn't see half of the stuff because it would have been a waste of time almost, you know? So
yeah. I mean, what else is there to show? It was just Rob dominating from the beginning to the end. So that's all they showed because that's all there was to show. What do you think about the final, what is it? The final fire ceremony? What does it call it? The fire ceremony?
Whatever it's called. Tell me if I'm wrong. Do they always have to like not be able to talk before they do their votes? Is that always
they usually aren't. I mean, Trishelle and CT did say like, I'm not a traitor, but they didn't really like, they didn't strategize or they don't do like a proper round table.
Yeah. Okay. Like I think it's maybe it's because it was different scenery than I was used to, and they're inside. Like,
they didn't.
I don't know why it felt so slow.
Yeah,
but the decision after Mara's decision, I'll say it was interesting because we got a Mara bad decision with Tara, and then we got Eric, who genuinely looked really pissed. Like the turning on Eric was very entertaining, and then Rob's like whole confession to Mara was crazy, and I was just like, you know, looking back, that was probably the most entertaining part of the whole episode.
I think so too.
I'll take it. Yeah,
I think so too. Were you surprised that Rob voted to vote again, or did you think he was?
Yeah, no, I told you I was completely wrong because I did not think that he was going to turn on Eric, but he did. You know, and shout out to that. You know, like I know the confessionals were trying to make the confessionals seem like something else was going to happen, but like I'm on to their editing style by now, especially when they're wearing the same clothes after the challenge. I'm just this is not like teetering at all, right? But no, I was completely shocked that he did Eric and Mora the way he did. Like he wasn't rude about it, but he completely made them look so stupid. And
absolutely.
Yeah, like I think about Eric's facial expression when he found out Rob was a traitor, and then I also think about Eric's facial expression when it was time to do the last vote. Like that's insane, you know. Hey, it is what it is.
This is where I get frustrated with Eric because I'm like, you should have seen throughout the show that Rob turned on his other two traitors. I don't know why you expected him.
Eric was Ari.
Oh, 1,000%. But like he should have 100% expected him to also turn on him. So he should have put in some work ahead of time or like started to work with Tara and Johnny or something to build some numbers, maybe like the day before or whatever. Or even with Tara and Mora at the final thing to say like, I actually think it's Rob. But he just sat and he didn't say anything. So, I mean, they just thought he was a traitor, which he was. So it makes sense. But I think he was...
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was saying the only traders I've ever seen that I actually genuinely believe like would have split money is like Danielle and Brittany. Like I don't think
I think so.
Anyone else would have ever did that.
No, I don't think so either. And even then I wouldn't be surprised if Danielle was like, this is for reindeer games and took the money. You know, like she was like true villain last season, but also amazing television. So, you know, for Alan Cumming to say that she was the worst traitor, there are 1,000% worse traitors that have been on this show. I mean, like Christian in season 1. Cody was a terrible traitor. Like
Donna Kelsey,
terrible traitor. She was a terrible traitor. Yeah, no, I was just going to say that I do think I was impressed that Eric tried to get Mora to flip on Rob. At least he tried and didn't just stand there. Like Ari quit the game when he got voted against, instead of like being like, no, Suri's a traitor. At least Eric tried and was like, look at the guy who you've been close to this whole time, or like whatever. He gave it a chance for like a second. So I have to commend him for that. At least he didn't just lay down and die, but too late. Too little too late. Oh, that's true. Ebony says Kate was a horrendous traitor, an absolutely horrendous traitor. That is very true. I forgot
she has
a traitor.
Dirt on production because they love her. Don't understand.
She's good TV. Terrible traitor. Terrible traitor. Well, congratulations to Rob. Any thoughts on the reunion?
No, it was the Candace and Lisa show. Honestly, with the
really, to me, it was a Portia show.
I was about to say with a sprinkle of Portia in Michael Rappaport, but I got way too much Candace and Lisa Rinna, and it's like I'm not complaining, but like they sound so bitter, and I still feel like they don't understand how the game is supposed to play.
Lisa's totally fine. Lisa's all over social media.
Like,
it's
Candace is really annoying to me, and then it's like also like the whole I heard that you told Colton that I was a traitor, and it was like, no. Obviously, like when you're a faithful, you have to pretend like, oh, let's do this person next. They gotta be a traitor. Like, of course. Like, I don't think Candace really understood what she was here for. And she just seems so salty because I think she wanted her gotcha moment, but Rob won. So like all her, like if he lost, that's one thing, but like he won, so it automatically justifies like every single thing he did. And I feel like she was trying to make like, oh, I told you so, but it's like, no, you didn't. You were wrong. You were wrong. He did the right thing because he still left with all the money, you know. So
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Candace is my girl. I love her. I love her from Real Houses of Potomac. To me, she can't do much wrong. But and even at the beginning, I was like, all right, they have to have it out, right? Like they haven't had the moment. But then it just went on a little too long. I was like, all right, with the Colton stuff, like this is all we're doing a little too much. I mean, it's for camera time. I understand they're housewives, like this is what they do. And I know people get so annoyed by having housewives on these shows, but the housewives truly bring all of the television moments to the Traitors 90% of the time. Like in the last few seasons, it was Phaedra was the talk. Last season, actually, not really on the Housewives. That was Danielle was the star of the show. And this season, you know, Lisa and Candace did a lot, but there were not that many exciting moments on this season as a whole, other than like, it's you, Jam Jam, and it was Lisa getting voted out. Like that was probably the most exciting couple of days is like Lisa versus Colton and then Lisa getting voted out, and then it went a little stale. So I do think we need the housewives on these shows, but I don't think we need 5 of them every season. Like it's do like 2 or 3 or whatever.
They also like overhyped the Lisa versus Colton thing. Like I was not expecting much, and I'm telling you, like it didn't give anything. Like it just turned to a Colton like a sob story. Like, like I just don't care.
The fact that they allow this man to go on television and be like, this was the darkest time in my life, when he stalked and harassed his ex and got a restraining order filed against him, like that's the darkest time in your life. What about like the woman you victimized? What about her life? Like, just don't even fucking talk about it, bro. You're not the victim here. Shut the fuck up. Like, no one wants to hear it. And then he's doing all this press being like, oh, I think all of these people are, feel like they're entitled to my whole life. It's like, then get the fuck off TV. Get off TV. If you want to go fade into the background, get off television. Go get a job. Like, this is not for you if you think that people aren't going to rip you apart. I have no patience for that man. And then Bulk Corpse in the chat actually says Lisa was drugged. I don't know if you saw any of that, but she was allegedly roofied at the premiere party, and Colton allegedly leaked it to the press, which is also completely fucking wild. And I'm just so tired of this man. Like, we don't need him on television anymore. We just don't need him on television anymore.
I did enjoy the clip it. Like,
Michael Rappaport is a loser. So that is a Dorinda. Dorinda does that. She has done that on The Real Housewives, and that's like one of the memeable things where she's drunk in a restaurant and she's like, clip. So he's like trying to do her thing and be a housewife.
It was so cringe.
He's so cringe. He is very cringe. I did read something that said he was doing a lot on the reunion, like behind the scenes and stuff, and that they cut a lot of it out. And I also read that Rob Cesternino was a big personality at the reunion, and we only got to see like 2 minutes of him. But
Rob is a very funny guy.
He's so funny. I mean, calling Jam Jam pick me traitor was hilarious. Yeah, yeah, that
Listen,
was
Jam
great.
Jam's I feel so bad. Jam Jam's like image has dropped so much. Like he lost so much aura coming on this show, and it's so bad because like he was honestly seen as like one of the better new age Survivor winners for a
Mhm.
while, and I feel like he has lost a lot of like not respect, but just like he's lost a lot of like power that he held beforehand because this just was not a good showing for him in or outside of the show. It was just bad all around for Jam Jam. Not good.
Yeah. I think overall the reunions themselves, we always talk about how we want reunions for these shows. And now I'm like, do we really need a reunion for this show? Like, do we?
I'll
I
take
don't think
it.
that we do. I just don't. It doesn't give
Yeah.
anything. I always feel like this with the Love Island reunions too. Since they moved to Peacock, I feel like I always expect there to be more because the Housewives reunions are 3 parts. They go
hmm
deep. They fight with each other, but they're professionals at reunions, right? That's like their Super Bowl every season is the reunion. This is like a bunch of non-experienced half reality stars. Maybe we have like a Ivar who's like a royal or whatever,
Oh,
former royal, whatever
God.
he was. Like he's not versed for the reunion. That other British guy, John, whatever, in season 2, like that man doesn't need to be sitting on a reunion stage. Like it just doesn't give us enough. They don't dig deep enough into the stuff we actually want to talk about, and then they don't talk any game. We got zero mention of Ron and Dorinda, which is crazy to me because Ron is like dragging
Well, I
everybody
think
outside of the
that's the
house.
reason probably why he's not. I think Ron is very anti-traders right now, so
Seems like it.
makes sense. I feel like if it was shorter and they just showed us the stuff that we care about, that would be cool. Like I haven't watched Love Is Blind in a very long time, but Love Is Blind reunions used to be so fire.
Yeah, yeah, they were good.
Yeah, they talked about all the messy stuff that we want to talk about.
Yeah,
We're
and the
already trying to
internet
keep it.
stuff, like the drama
Yeah,
online.
yeah.
Yeah. I know, we need
But
that.
yeah, they no more. I mean, this is a very PR heavy like reunion, and they also
Mhm.
apparently like edit out a lot of the stuff that we want to see. So it's like
Yeah.
I'll get what I get. If it was
Yeah.
live, I'm sure it'll be a lot more entertaining, but it's
Oh, for
not.
sure, but they would
So
never. They would
yeah.
never. I know this is a pretty short discussion, but I feel like we've done so much discussion leading up to this, and this was the result of the show that we were expecting. So it's almost feels like we spent a whole however many weeks, 10 weeks or whatever,
Mhm.
maybe a little less than talking about it and breaking it down and breaking down Rob's game. So I don't have a ton much else to talk about, but for everybody watching us right now, we're about to do a double header with Janelle. If you watch our Big Brother coverage, Bounce Checks, we're about to go do some off-season Big Brother coverage. So we figured we would keep this one a little short, but join us over there. Unless there's any last words about this season. Let's do a quick season ranking actually before we go. Out of the 4 seasons of the Traitors US, let's rank really quickly. What's your highest to lowest?
Out of entertainment value,
Yeah. Just what overall, what have you enjoyed the most?
who won season 2 again? Oh, I guess I'll say season 2
Mm-hmm.
with number 1. I actually am a huge fan of messy reality TV. I think last season is my number 2. Everything but the finale was amazing to me.
Yep.
So like season 2, season 3, and then I'll say season 1 and season 4. The outcomes are great, but like the seasons are like snooze fest to me. Like I don't know. I don't really remember a lot of people from season 1, and I'm not going to remember a lot of people from season 4. If I'm being
Yeah.
honest with you, I
Other
remember
than
a
people
lot of
being
the side
condoms.
characters. Exactly, I remember a lot of the side characters from season 3 and season 2. So like
Oh yeah.
that's
They made the
good.
show.
Yeah. If you have a good cast, I'd rather take that than a boring outcome. Like it just Steam rules are so boring. Like I'm from the old school era where like even if you have a great winner, they faced a lot of adversity to get to where they are. Like
Yep.
I'm not really a fan of this new age. Oh, they didn't get any blood on their hands and no one's expected them. I'm just like, why do I want to watch someone just walk to a finish line? Like I like the hurdles, So it's definitely going to be 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 4 for me.
I think pretty much the same as you. I think I would do 3. What did you say? 2, 3 first?
Yeah.
I think I would do 3, 2. I think 3 gave so many
Yeah.
good moments of like Boston Rob versus Bob the Drag Queen. We had Bob the Drag Queen say that Zac Efron's not a good actor. We had Danielle versus Carolyn. We had Boston Rob just wanting to die inside in the turret every night. And then we had the ending. The ending with Danielle falling on the ground, going after Carolyn. Like the whole thing, I think, was entertaining. Was the gameplay great? Certainly not. But it was definitely the most entertaining from start to finish of all the seasons. Season 2 started very entertaining, but then as soon as Dan pretty much outed Phaedra at the round table, like Phaedra wasn't going to win, so it hit a peak and then went down very quickly. But I think season 3 had a pretty even entertainment value across the board, even if the game wasn't great. And then I would go 4. I actually think I would go 1 first, and then
can you name everybody that won season 3?
Season 3, yes, Gabby, Dolores. I want to say Pilot Pete, but that's not who it was. It was Dylan Efron, and Ivor.
Okay. I didn't even remember 3 of those people.
Yeah.
Shout out to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've the only thing I'll say
terrible
is
winners.
Terrible winners. That's my only thing. The winners were unsatisfactory.
Yeah.
Like at least Trishelle and CT, like they were still gaming even though the game was over. You know?
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That is true. Well, you know what? The one other thing that we didn't talk about really quickly is Mora. And the only thing I want to say, because I feel like we said it throughout the season, I do feel like we were a little bit robbed of a reaction because she was like, I'm going to storm out of the castle. She didn't even give a shit.
I knew she wasn't going to do that.
So I was just like, come on. She's not even upset. Like, she's shocked, of course, but she's just like, wow, good play. Wow, you really, great job. And I was like, no, be angry. At least give us like a moment. Give us a payoff moment.
I think she did off screen because the initial reaction was, I'm going to look so stupid. Like, you could tell she was about to cry. And then she stopped herself. Like, she didn't want to like break down on TV, but like you could tell she realized like, I'm going to look like an idiot like outside of this. Like you could tell. I felt horrible, but then she did to herself, bro. Like, she did
to herself.
It was bad. It was so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Secondhand embarrassment.
Rob is supposed to be buying her a Birkin bag, which is extremely. Lisa said $10,000. They are significantly more expensive than $10,000. I don't know where she got that figure from, and you have to get on a wait list to buy them. And I'm kind of like, that feels like sharing the winnings a little bit to me, which I know in Big Brother is against the rules. I do not know if that's against the rules in Traitors. That's the only thing I'm just kind of like, come on, like I don't love that.
Right.
But in season 1, if you remember on the reunion, Andy Cohen did tell Cirie she should have shared the winnings with her faithfuls, and that is one thing in that reunion. Cirie had to fight for her life by playing a dominant game, and they just glazed Rob from start to finish for playing a similar game to Cirie. No one said you should share the winnings with these people. That is pretty annoying.
They were crapping on Cirie when she won in that reunion,
big
like
time.
heavy. Like no, I wouldn't share anything with anybody. Sorry.
No.
Well,
this is it. 4th season in the books. I'm sad that Javier can't be here to bask in, the glory of Eric going out at the end. I know he's not an Eric fan, and not a Mora fan either. So unfortunately,
you can do it when we do our ranking.
When we do our ranking, we'll have to hear his feedback. And shout out to me for winning the draft. Yay!
There you go.
So that's it. That's it for us, and that's it for the season. But you will see us on a ranking podcast soon. Stay tuned for that, and definitely make sure that you guys subscribe to the Silent Podcast YouTube page and anywhere else you find Silent Podcast. Especially if you want to hang out with us in our next stream, which is going to happen in like 5 minutes to talk about Big Brother new era players. We're going to rank and talk about the best players of the new age Big Brother seasons post All-Stars Big Brother 22. So come talk about Big Brother with us and some actual gamers instead of just some of these flops on reality TV. But it's been a great season. Isaiah, thanks for covering it with me again. Thank you guys for being here and all your participation in the chat. Thank you for that person who loves Natalie down in the comments. Those gave me a very good laugh. So I'm sorry that we upset you last week. And we will see you. We'll see you around definitely before next season, but we'll definitely see you back for season 5. So thank you guys.
Yes.
Bye.